Okay. Well, good morning, Jamie. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm so glad to see you back in the clinic today. And we're going for your second prenatal visit. How exciting. Have there been any changes since the last time that we talked or anything?
Well, I have a concern. Um, Jeff and I are usually intimate 3 to 4 times a week. We have always had a pretty healthy sex life. And since I found out I was pregnant, I'm just really afraid of having sex now. I don't know why, and he's been really understanding, but I just feel it's going to create problems with my marriage if I continue being afraid to have sex.
Okay. So, since you found out that you've been pregnant or are pregnant, have you even initiated sex or have y'all tried to have sex?
No, I just don't want to. I'm afraid to. Since
Okay.
I found out I was pregnant, I'm just too afraid to have sex. And like I said, he's been understanding, but I can tell it's starting to bother him that I don't want to be intimate anymore.
Hmm. Well, I know that sometimes when we become pregnant, sometimes we can have certain fears and stuff that surround pregnancy, especially, if you've had any kind of miscarriage before in the past. I think that opening up a conversation with you and your husband or with your husband is going to be beneficial for you to kind of let him know that, hey, I'm kind of hesitant on having sex right now. Have you talked to him about your concerns at all?
I've just told him that I'm just afraid that we're going to hurt the baby or that something bad might happen to the baby.
So I will say this that with being pregnant when you're 8 weeks, the fetus at this point, because you're now 8 weeks pregnant, is really protected in your womb. Okay, it's got a very, very protective surrounding about around it. So at this point in the game, it's not necessarily your baby is really, really protected. So if you want to go ahead and have intercourse, it's not going to hurt your baby at all. Your baby is like really encapsulated in that little womb and it's just growing and growing and growing. And I think that if that is your fear, know that your baby is just fine. Now, some warning signs to think about is that possibly if you're having any kind of bleeding or cramping, or if the sex is not feeling, if it's painful, then those are warning signs to stop. Okay. But what I would tell you right now is um, it's a very, very common response for some women to be apprehensive about having sex when they found out that they were pregnant. It doesn't make you any less, you're just a little bit concerned about the pregnancy and stuff, but it doesn't make you abnormal. All those feelings that you're feeling are totally normal. They're normal within the scope of everything that's going on. And you have to remember also during this time, there's a lot of hormones that are going on in your body. And some women just don't want to have sex because they're tired. They may have a little bit of morning sickness. All those things play into part. And I just want you to know that you will eventually feel a little bit better from the fatigue and from the morning sickness. But I think that um, a conversation needs to be taking place with you and your husband. And know that if you're still apprehensive about having sex, there's always other ways to be intimate besides intercourse. So you can explore those types of options, holding hands, walking down the road, going to see a movie or just laying close to each other. And sometimes those kind of things can bring about that desire, and maybe you find yourself having sex again with your husband. But if you're not wanting to have sex because you're afraid that it's going to hurt the baby, just know that your baby is really nice and insulated in your womb, and that this is a wonderful thing that you can continue to do even throughout pregnancy. Sex is very pleasurable, it's very desirable. As humans, it's one of those things that we like to do, So, but at the same time, I want you to work at your own pace in this, okay? And if you need to bring in your husband, and I am more than willing to talk to your husband about this also. Okay.
So it's completely safe for me to have sex right now, and it's not going to put me at a higher risk of losing my baby, because miscarriages are very common in the early stages of pregnancy.
And I totally understand what you're saying. And I want to, once again, this is totally normal to have sex. But if you notice those warning signs, like I told you, like the bleeding, the cramps, pain with intercourse. Now, those are things that you want to just back off, because that's the body's way of saying, okay, give me a minute, let me reevaluate this. And then, I would love for you to come and talk to me if any of those things were to happen, because I honestly need to know about those things. But I will say that early on, sex is just fine during pregnancy. Okay, so if you want to go home tonight and just throw caution to the wind, go for it, girl.
Good. Jeff will be happy to hear that.
Okay. All right. Other than that, are there any other concerns or questions that you have?
Not right now. Just getting through the normal discomforts of pregnancy right now.
Okay. All right, Jamie. Well, what we'll do is we will go ahead and continue. I'll see you in another 4 weeks, and hopefully at that time we can hear the baby's heartbeat, because that's a very exciting time. Okay. And once again, if you feel like you have any other questions or concerns, I want you to always make sure that you can contact us, anybody in the practice, myself, because I'm working with you. But yeah, anybody in the practice also. Okay.
Okay. Fantastic. Right. Thank you so much, Stephanie.
Okay.